All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Forrest Campbell, and I'm an employment coach here at Employability. I'm pleased to welcome you all to this webinar. I hope you are all well. We'll just give everybody a chance to log in before we get started. So grab a coffee or tea while you can, and we'll get started in a few minutes. Okay, I think that's everyone logged on. Now, let's get started. Firstly, we would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we are all meeting from today. I'm dialing in from the beautiful Guringai land of the northern beaches. We'd like to recognize the traditional owners and their continuing connection to land, waters, and community. We pay our respects to elders both past, present, and emerging. I just wanted to make you aware that this workshop will be recorded. Everyone in attendance has their video and microphones muted for this call, so we will not be able to hear or see you. But you will be able to turn both of these on at the question and answer at the end to contribute towards the discussion. Now that we are all settled, I would like to start by painting a picture for you. Imagine for a moment being in a room of 100 people, and if I asked them to raise their hand, if they'd had experienced a loved one passing, a messy divorce, a natural disaster, or possibly an injury that led to physical disability or perhaps mental health issues. Out of that room, how many people do you think still would have their hands down? I imagine most everyone would have their hands raised. The truth is, almost everyone out there has suffered through some sort of adversity. We, as people living with disability, are not alone. The real question is, how do we deal with it? As people with disability, we face many other barriers to employment, but the fact is they can be overcome with the right attitude and support. And in today's session, I'm going to give you some tips on how to overcome those barriers. All right. As I mentioned, I'm Forrest, and I'm an employment coach at Employability. My lived experience of disability is that I have a spinal cord injury that I sustained in a downhill skiing accident in 2015. That left me a quadriplegic. After fracturing my C6-7 vertebrae in my neck, I lost my ability to mobilize and became a full-time wheelchair user. I was an electrician prior to my injury, so a very hands-on and physical job. I took the skills that I had gained around how electricity works and retrained as a solar designer and salesman. I worked in the renewable energy sector until February this year when I joined the employability team. All right. So what is employability and what do we do? Well, in a nutshell, our priority is to empower people with physical disability to reach their employment goals and find meaningful work. Work isn't always possible goal, so if not paid employment, it could be volunteer work, a work experience placement, or even moving into some sort of career-related vocational study. Our goal is to understand the individual's goals and work together to make them a reality, no matter what challenges lay ahead. Okay, let's have a glance at what we're going to cover in today's webinar. Job searching can be a daunting task for anyone, but as a person with physical disability, you may have added anxiety if you have not worked for a while, can no longer return to your previous job following an injury, or maybe you experienced discrimination in the workplace. So this workshop, we will be helping you start building the resilience needed to overcome some of those challenges. We will look at how to create a positive mindset, how to improve confidence in general, how to build resilience specifically when it comes to job searching. Then we will look at how building community connections can help you. And finally, we have Ebony, a guest speaker here today from one of our NeuroMoves gyms to talk about the importance of health and well-being through physical activity. Please note that we are not trained medical professionals. If you feel like you need some additional support or struggling with your mental health, we would recommend reaching out to a medical professional for advice. We have listed some resources and contacts at the end of this presentation you might find useful. All right, let's get started. Creating the right mindset would give you the foundation to work on your confidence and build resilience with your job search. But what does mindset really mean? Well, mindset is a set of beliefs that you have about yourself, which basically shapes you and how you interpret and interact with the world around you. Mindset determines how you approach the world and the activities you do every day. So, let's imagine it's the morning of your big interview, and you wake up and immediately you start thinking about how nervous you are, that you don't have the right skills for the job, and that it's too much trouble for them to hire somebody with a disability, and that you probably won't get the job anyways. This is an example of negative self talk, and letting this take hold can send you into a bit of a negative thought spiral. So, by the time you get to that interview, you've already told yourself you're not going to get the job. So, let's flip the coin to the other side. You wake up, you feel some nerves, but you tell yourself it's natural to be nervous. It's the body's way of prepping yourself for something important. You worry about not being as good as other candidates. Then you remember and focus on the fact that you do actually have the skills and experience you need for the job. And you have no control over who else has applied anyway. So realize there's no point in dwelling on it. You're so much more likely to succeed if you can focus on what you can do and then take that positive mindset into your interview and give it your best shot. Finding the right mindset doesn't mean ignoring your challenges and hurdles or overlooking the things that might not be so great right now. It's all about taking the knowledge from every situation, being able to recognize your good qualities and strengths, and seeing the best in yourself. Having a positive mindset means making positive thinking a habit. And like all habits, this takes practice. So, step 2, a big part of building resilience is being able to improve your confidence. And this isn't as easy as it sounds. Having confidence is to believe in yourself and in your abilities. It's to look at yourself in a positive way and feel secure with your capabilities. Building confidence is a skill in itself. And in today's workshop, we hope to provide you with the starting points needed to develop this skill. So, what practical things can you do to build up your self confidence? You can focus on your achievements. This will remind you that you have done some great things already, and you can do it again. You can acknowledge your strengths, which will help you focus your mind on your talents and what you're good at. You can set realistic goals. There's nothing worse than seeing yourself fall short of goals over and over. So setting realistic ones will help you get where you want to be. Doing activities you love, like hobbies, reinforces positive attitude in general. And finally, practicing positive self-talk will lead you to becoming a more positive thinker in general. And remember, practice really does make perfect. Okay, now for step 3, building job search resilience. So, what is resilience? Resilience offers an ability to successfully adapt to difficult or challenging life experiences and recover from a negative impact on our lives. As a person with physical disability who has likely faced many challenges, you are already more resilient than you may think. There are many things in the job search process that will test your resilience, such as unsuccessful job applications, interviews that don't go the way you'd hoped, ghosted phone calls to employers, and discrimination in the workplace due to physical disability. How you deal with each of these challenges is key to how you stay on course in your job search journey. A key part of resilience is learning to accept emotional pain and stress of part of life, and reminding yourself that negative experiences and emotions will pass or become easier to manage with time. When faced with a challenge, allow yourselves to feel your feelings. That will let you grow as a job seeker. Building a positive mindset helps, as it means when you hit a big obstacle, rather than turn back, you can tell yourself there will be a way forward. Research shows that highly resilient people tend to possess 3 common traits or habits: acceptance, purpose, and flexibility. Importantly, we know that these are not simply genetic gifts some lucky few are born with. They are skills all of us can learn and build from. So, the benefits to changing mindset, improving confidence, and building resilience. So So what is there to gain by changing your mindset to the positive? Firstly, you'll find it easier to cope with stress. Being able to let go of the things that are out of your control means you can focus on what you can affect, freeing your mind of negativity. Research shows that people who approach life with a positive mindset experience improved health, longer life expectancy, and your brain will have heightened prefrontal activity, resulting in enhanced mental functions such as creative thinking, cognitive flexibility, and even faster processing. I think that speaks for itself. Next, having a positive mindset also helps you in your relationships with your significant others, family, friends, as well as colleagues. People generally are more inclined to engage with people who radiate positivity. We touched on this earlier, but having that mindset shift can also help you bounce back from adversity and get through those tough times. And finally, research shows that people who approach things with a positive mindset experience better focus and concentration. So, we've covered what building confidence, resilience, and positive mindset means. Now, let's take some time to learn about how we can achieve them. All right. So, step one, focus on the present and building for the future. So, everyone in this session is likely to have faced some huge challenges in the past. Whether this has been related to your disability or not, it's easy to get fixated on this, and it might seem impossible to look past. But this doesn't have to be the case. You cannot change the past, but you can control your present and your future. Let's look at some tips to help you be more present in your daily life. Focus on breathing and try meditation or mindfulness exercises. There's so much research that points to mindfulness practice as a benefit to calming nerves and helping focus. And we'd be happy to give you more information about practical things you can do following today's webinar if you want to learn more. Limit the time you spend on social media, except for when you're job searching. Although it has benefits, social media can have a negative impact on self-esteem. Not to mention it can be a huge distraction when you need to get important tasks done. Learning how to switch off those notifications can be so helpful, not just for job search, but for getting things done in general. Stay connected with your body. We've touched on it a few times, but being mindful about eating well and getting some sort of physical exercise is also really great for mindset building. Keep a gratitude journal. It's not for everyone, but being able to write down what we're grateful for can help us pay attention to all the good things in our lives and make us more tuned into what's good rather than what isn't. And finally, understand that you don't have all the answers. Remember, no one is perfect. So as long as you're being proactive and tackling things one thing at a time, you're doing great. And please remember, all those challenges of the past shouldn't be forgotten. You can embrace them as part of who you are, but don't let them define who you become. When we compare ourselves to others, we often focus on what we don't have or what we're not good at, rather than on our strengths and accomplishments. Self-comparison is a normal part of being human. Comparing yourself often leaves you feeling frustrated, anxious, and for lack of better word, paralyzed. This doesn't help creating the life we want. Instead, it takes away valuable energy and positivity we can use to focus on the future. It's important to remember that not everyone's lives are picture perfect, despite what social media might present. We tend to compare our lesser qualities with those best qualities, putting ourselves in a no-win situation. But everyone faces difficulties and challenges in life, and many are not obvious or known. Whenever you focus on what other people have that you don't have, it takes away your power. So instead of giving all that power to others, give it back to yourself and use it for believing, creating, and not destroying. So here are a few tips to stop ourselves from that destructive comparison hamster wheel. Okay, you need to celebrate your own success no matter how big or small. Focus on your qualities and what makes you unique and special. Be grateful for what you have. Oprah Winfrey once said, be thankful for what you have. You'll end up having more. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you will never, ever have enough. Decide not to let fear guide your process. The choices we make are either based on love or fear. The more, make sure that love is the foundation of your choices. Stay on track. Ask yourself this powerful question. What would love do right now? And finally, realize that you're not perfect. There will always be somebody who's richer, smarter, and more attractive than you. No one is perfect. Trying to be perfect is not the solution. So instead of getting down on yourself for your flaws, quirks, and imperfections, accept and celebrate them. Free yourself by embracing the fact that you're perfectly you, and that makes you perfectly unique. All right, finding a community. Living with a disability can be isolating, so it's important to find a community of like-minded people who you can identify with and appreciate your positive qualities. Humans are social beings by nature, so spending time with fellow like-minded humans can be really rewarding for the mind. This can involve anything from joining a local book club to taking part in community sports or joining an online forum. Employability have created a Facebook community for job seekers living with disability in Australia. This is a great place to not only find suitable roles, but connect with others living with physical disability and gain support throughout your job search journey. Just go onto Facebook and search Physical Disability Jobs and Opportunities Australia to join. All right. It's easy to spend time focusing on the things we want to change and improve about ourselves. But disability is a result, if your disability is a result of an accident, you might find yourself comparing what you used to be able to do versus what you can or can't do now. But remember, your disability does not define you. By placing more focus on your skills, experience, abilities, and positive attributes, you're more likely to have a positive outcome and higher self-esteem. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. Someone may be a brilliant musician, but a dreadful cook. Neither quality defines their core worth. Recognize what your strengths are and the feelings of confidence they give you, especially in times of doubt. It's easy to make generalizations when you mess up or fail at something, but reminding yourself of the ways you succeed offers more realistic perspective of yourself. Here are some tips on how to put the focus in the right place. Spend some time identifying your strengths and how these can transfer into your future jobs. Approach people who inspire you or challenge you for your growth. And take time to practice gratitude and self-compassion. What is one thing you're proud of this week? What is one thing you're grateful for today? All right, we all have a narrative that we have created about ourselves, and that shapes our perceptions upon which our self-image is based. Only you can change that story. The more you repeat negative thoughts, the more you can think that they are true. It's easy to look at your disability as your main identifying characteristic, which can really lower your self-esteem. As we have seen, this doesn't have to be the case. It's key to recognize all the great qualities that you bring to the table. After all, these are what make you you. Here are some great tips. So be kind to yourself. Try your best not to compare yourself to others. Exercise regularly to release endorphins, happiness hormones like dopamine and serotonin. Set realistic goals for yourself and check in with your progress regularly. Remember, everyone makes mistakes, so don't beat yourself up when you do. Focus on what's within your control. Make time for your hobbies and the things you enjoy. Celebrate your victories, as I said before, no matter how big or small. Be a good friend and make time to spend with your loved ones, and surround yourself with supportive people. All right, creating a good morning routine sets the right tone for the day. Win the morning, win the day. This can be anything from ensuring that you wake up at the same time each day to prioritizing exercise. listening to music, and having a good breakfast. Having a clear path of where you want to go in both the short term and long term will help you. A tip is to set some achievable goals and write a brief plan on how you're going to get to reach each of them. This will help you stay on track when the inevitable wobble comes and you need to refocus. Also, outline where you want to be in a set period of time. What steps you will need to take to reach these goals. Are there any hurdles that might prevent this along the way? And how can you address these if and when they arise? All right, number 7, staying fit and healthy. A healthy body is a healthy mind. Looking after yourself physically via nutrition, exercise, and adequate rest is the cornerstone of resilience. It can help you manage any setbacks, challenges, and stress you are likely to face during your job search journey, and move on from these quicker to achieve your goals. I keep my body healthy and my mind strong by getting out adaptive mountain biking. It helps me to clear my mind and get away from thinking about the day-to-day. I also love the serenity of being outdoors, away from cars, loud sounds, and listening to the wildlife. It just keeps me calm and happy. A top tip would be joining a NeuroMoves gym, and they can help you stay on track with your fitness goals. So, this is a perfect segue to introduce Ebony from our NeuroMoves gym. NeuroMoves is an innovative, holistic, evidence-based exercise and therapy service for people living with a neurological condition or physical disability. Their vision is to improve a person's quality of life through maximizing their mobility, function, and independence, as well as understanding the unique aspects of each person's condition. So, without further ado, over to Ebony.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Forrest. As Forrest mentioned, my name's Ebony, so I'm one of the physiotherapists and the team leader at our St. Peter's NeuroMove site. I just thought I would give you a brief summary about NeuroMoves. So we are an Australia-wide company. We service anyone with a neurological condition of any age, gender, race, and we're a team made up of qualified physiotherapists and exercise physiologists. We run various programs, so depending on people's preferences, we have one-on-one programs, group programs, hydrotherapy, and then we also offer home visits and telehealth. So we have multiple locations over Australia. In Sydney, we have the most. So we have our St. Peter's Clinic, Clyde, Penrith, Menai, Liverpool, Lismore, and then we run one therapist out of Ferguson Lodge as well. And then we've just recently opened a clinic in Newcastle. In South Australia, we have 2 clinics, and we have 2 clinics also in Victoria and WA. In Canberra, we have 1 clinic, and in Queensland, we're affiliated with Sporting Wheelies, who have NeuroMoves therapists that work out of there. We are yet to get clinics in Tasmania and the NT. However, that is definitely something we look to do. In terms of being involved at NeuroMoves, being a client, the intake process is really simple. So you don't need a referral. We just have an intake form to be completed online, and that will also prompt you to complete a medical clearance and a service agreement form just regarding funding and payment and things like that. And then from there, you'll be contacted by whichever site you preferenced on the form. That team leader will contact you to book in an initial assessment. I guess relating to resilience and mental health, Forrest has done an amazing job at telling you all the ways about how we can be resilient. However, exercise is a really, really big one in terms of its positive effects on someone's mental health and well-being. Exercise, as Forrest said, releases those endorphins, our happy emotions. And working in this setting for multiple years now, I've just seen such a big amount of clients have a positive benefit from engaging in regular exercise. clients have given me feedback and given all our teams feedback on how attending regular exercise and engaging in our service and just being around like-minded people has just helped their confidence, increased their community and social participation and engagement, and just generally had a really positive impact on their thoughts and attitudes towards both exercise and exercising with a disability. So I couldn't recommend it highly enough. Engaging in regular exercise and being not only surrounded by people who are wanting to achieve their goals as well, it can just help with their motivation towards both exercise and just achieving their goals. So I think that's really important for everyone to recognise. I'm happy to answer any other questions if you have any, but for now I'll hand back over to you, Forrest.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Ebony. Yeah, there is a Q&A section coming just right up. So that's great. Thank you so much again, Ebony. That was really well said. And we're really grateful to have the NeuroMoves team as part of our group of people and supports that we can help people out with. So, okay, so we're coming to the end of this webinar today, and we have covered a lot. So let's have a quick recap. So job searching isn't easy. You may not get there the first time, and this is the reality for many job seekers, able-bodied or people with disability. The key is not to let it stop you from applying, and more importantly, don't lose hope. Try and learn from these setbacks rather than seeing it as a failure. Hopefully, what we have spoken about today will help you with this. We talked about why building resilience is so important when it comes to job searching. Then we talked about how to create a positive mindset, and finally we touched on why setbacks are a normal part of the job search journey and covered some strategies on how to deal with those setbacks. Also, please remember, an employer cannot reject you if you're qualified for a job solely because of your disability. Your rights are protected by the Disability Discrimination Act. Equally, they cannot pay you less or promote a colleague ahead of you based just because the other candidate does not have a disability. Finally, it is absolutely acceptable for you to request reasonable adjustments, and the employability team would be happy to talk to you more on any of these things you want to get in touch with after the webinar. Okay. Now, thanks for taking the time to join us today. We made a bit of time for some Q&A. If you'd like to turn on your camera and microphones to contribute towards the discussion, should you wish. If you're not comfortable with that, please feel free to use the chat function.
Thanks, Forrest. We have had a question come in already.
Okay.
So as someone who has gone through the process of looking for a job with a disability, when did you know you were ready to get back to work?
Oh, okay. As somebody with a disability getting back into the workforce, I would say I had to have all the supports around me ready to go. So I spent 6 months in rehabilitation. And then once I went home, it was a pretty good transition to make sure I got back home, making sure I had all the supports I had in place needed in place there. So house modifications, support workers, and also one of the most important things was transportation. So it was probably 18 months to 2 years after I had my injury before I kind of had all those supports to put together, and I felt like I was ready to get back into the workforce.
Perfect, thank you. So we've had a few more come through. So how do you identify your transferable skills if you need to change jobs after acquiring disability?
Well, for me, it wasn't overly easy, but I was an electrician by trade to start before I had my injury, and I retrained to become a solar engineer and designer afterwards. So I used those skills that I learned through electrical college, the theory of electricity and stuff, to be able to move into a solar engineering and design work. But that's just me, and I'm lucky because I had that pathway. Other people may not, and there's a lot of ways that you can look at different skills that are transferable to take to another job. physical workers, instead of using your hands. You can use your skills in communication, in teaching other workers. There's all sorts of ways that you can delve into your actual transferable skills, and they're in these days market, it's probably more important in the job search area.
Perfect. Just had some feedback. Thank you for the webinar, very informative. And then regarding employability, how much does it cost?
Oh, this is an easy one. It's absolutely free. Anybody can join the employability program through putting in an expression of interest, which we'll have all of our resources in another slide just after our Q&A here. So as I said, absolutely free.
Perfect. And that's all the questions for now.
Great. Okay. So here are some really useful links for you that you can help out, that might be able to help you out. But if you can't write them down, don't worry. We'll share them once we finish up today. Yeah, so there's an employability program. There's the web address there for the website, NeuroMoves. If you're interested in getting a hold of Ebony, she's on there as well. Job Seekers Facebook community search page on Facebook, and the SCIA Resilience programs, which are another incredibly good resource. Again, thank you. I can't thank you enough for joining me today, and I hope you found it useful for your job search journey. We've got an amazing team of employment coaches and an employer engagement specialist who are here to help you find work if you're a person living with disability. So just scan the QR code or head to our website and get in touch. I'm also happy to leave my direct email address so you can see in case anybody else wants to chat directly, and I'm more than open to it. Thanks again, and we'll see you at the next seminar.